Blade and Brush, I'm Mike, your wet shaver, back with another video, and this week we've got a not so oldie but still goodie from Chicago Grooming Company. This is Windy City, one of its current lineup. If you haven't tried this, it is a nice barbershop scent with a little bit of added gunpowder to it, which I think is rather saying something about the Windy City of Chicago. Make of that what you will. The reason Chicago is called the Windy City has nothing to do with the actual wind, because technically Cleveland, Ohio is windier than Chicago. But no, Chicago is called the Windy City because of all the hot air blown by politicians. Either that or all the people eating onions, or both, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. I'm just telling you what I've heard on the rumor mill, but that's me. So, enough of my rambling. Let's get our prep started. I've got my bowl filled already. That was a Phoenix Cube shave soap, by the way. Now, the recommended way to use that shave soap is to use it in the shower as a face wash, and then after the shower to use it kind of like to further prep the beard. This is a newer puck. As you can see, it's hardly been used, and I'm using my Sterling boar brush. Yeah, if you haven't used Sterling brushes, they're quite good as far as quality is concerned, and also as far as the wallet is concerned. Alright, so this is just from loading the brush, by the way. I've not yet done up my lather in the bowl. I'm about to, but I wanted to show you just how creamy and luxurious that lather is just from loading on the brush. Now, I do like to bowl lather as opposed to face lathering or puck lathering. Puck lathering, you're going to use more product. And as far as bowl lathering, I get to control how much water I use because some soaps are thirstier than others, so you can't always use the same amount of water. But once you learn just how much water a particular brand of soap or a particular type of soap uses, you can adjust your water level accordingly, and that way you can get the ideal lather. Alright, so now I'm going to lather my face up for the first pass. Look how luxuriant this lather is. You know what? I've got this annoying hair that's just hanging by my eye, so I'm just going to try and remove that from my field of vision. All right, so today's razor is the Merkur 33C. It is the little brother to the 34C. It's got a much thinner handle. It is a 3-piece razor, and the blade that I've got in here is an Indian-made Astra Superior Stainless. Now this is going to be its second use. I used it yesterday, and it gave me like no nicks or any irritation at all, so that's a good sign. I'm not as impressed with the Indian-made Astras as I am with the old Russian ones. But the Chicago Grooming Company, well, it has been scaling back lately, is still in operation. I highly recommend going there and getting the product. The duck base is a bit of a novelty, but a very good novelty. Yeah, I find the Merkur 33 and 42 are good shavers for daily use. With the Merkur 34 and its Razor Rock counterpart, the Razor Rock Goat, those are more for like if you skipped a few days or a week. Because unless you're using a very forgiving blade, you are going to get nicks and cuts on those. Especially if you're not careful. But the 33 and the 42 are good daily shavers. Now, the weather here lately has been, thankfully, a bit more mild, not quite as hot as it has been. And I've harvested my first cucumbers off my vines, which is good. So I got the test results back on that mole on my back. And a bit of comedy, because I had to call and get clarification. because the test result paper just said compound nevus, which doesn't tell me anything. I had to look it up, but also got a follow-up message. And it turns out a compound nevus is just a regular mole. Which is good. It means I don't have to do anything further about it. It doesn't change that you really do need to take care of your skin. Wear adequate sunscreen when going out, even in winter. And then you can avoid ending up like me, where you can connect the dots in your face, your back, or, your arms, whatever. Especially if you're going to places like the Philippines, where you get a lot of sun in the dry season. It's a rainy season there right now, which goes from about mid-May to about mid-November. And right now, where my fiance lives, has been flooded pretty badly. Water's up to chest level. So I'm praying for her and her extended family who live in the area. Because her parents and siblings live in Dumaguete, but she has aunts and cousins who live in Metro Manila with her, not in the same house, but same city. And then, of course, we end up with a couple of celebrity deaths over the last couple of days. Yesterday, we got news that Malcolm Jamal Warner, who is only 54, that's just 3 years, 3.5 years older than I am, passed away. Apparently, he drowned while on vacation with his family. And then just today we got news that Ozzy Osbourne passed away at age 76, just 3 weeks after his farewell tour. Now, apparently he did have Parkinson's. That and complications from a fall in 2019 apparently took their toll. But frankly, I'm kind of surprised with all his drug use that he even lived this long. So as much of a bummer as it is about Ozzy Osbourne passing, you kind of expect it, especially given his age and health. But Malcolm Jamal Warner, oh man. '54 in a drowning accident, leaves behind wife and kids. So yeah, not a great start to the week, unfortunately. But you know what? Let this be a life lesson, okay? Life is not guaranteed to any of us. We can go at any time. So live your life to the fullest. Don't take stupid chances. But don't be afraid to live. And hug your loved ones tight. Because you never know. Yeah, right here. Don't get me wrong, I do like the Merkur 33. Like I said, it is a good daily shaver. It does have a nice amount of grip. But the thing about daily shavers, being generally speaking as lightweight as they are, you do have to be careful and not press too hard on it. But you also will likely need to do more touch-ups. Whereas a more efficient razor, you're not going to get that nearly as much. All right, so that's my post-shave treatment begun. Yeah, sorry, I don't mean to bum people out. All this talk of death can be kind of depressing, but you know what? Life is about ups and downs. You got to take the bad along with the good, because you can't recognize the good without the bad, or vice versa. Yeah, I prefer to remember people and things and places, both good and bad, because you learn to appreciate the good a whole lot more, Yeah, just kind of shaking out my brush off camera. So. Yeah, if you haven't tried the Sterling boar brush, this is a handle. It's acrylic, I believe. And then, of course, you've got the boar knot that... I'm not as fond of the boar knots from Sterling as I am of the badger knots. They just, I don't know, they tend to get a little bit more back broken. I don't know, just not as quite as good as the Omega boar brush that I typically use. I mean, it's not a criticism of Sterling. I mean, not everyone can get the same level of quality from the same sellers. It is a good brush though, and once it's broken in, and the shedding stops, then you get a really good brush there that will last quite a long time. This, by the way, is the Windy City Skin Food Aftershave. Again, great product. I highly recommend going to the website and checking it out. And of course, we've got the unscented post-shave balm that I'm going to be using. Before I do that, while the aftershave skin food is absorbing into my skin, let me go ahead and apply my underarm deodorant. Also helps to keep the bottle upside down so you can get it out of there, because once it gets to a certain point, you got to do that. This isn't a squeeze bottle where you can just squirt it out onto your palm and then get it out that way. Yeah, that is a damn fine shave, which is, what I have come to expect from Chicago Grooming Company. Again, this is Windy City Scent Profile, still available, if I'm not mistaken, on the website. So, be sure to go get yourself some along with the skin food. You will not regret it. The scent, like I said, is kind of a gunpowdery barbershop scent profile. Very masculine. I highly recommend it. And the duck base just makes for an incredibly slick soak. So be sure to check out the website. I'll have it linked below in the description. And that is pretty much it for today's shave. This is Mike for Blade and Brush, signing off.